Hello, welcome to Zono Academy. In this series, we will look at units and measurements. And to start with, in this video, we discuss physical quantities. Now, by definition, a physical quantity is just any measurable quantity or a quantity with measurable features. Or in simpler terms, a physical quantity is just a quantity that can be measured. Examples of those quantities that we can think of are quantities such as distance, quantities such as mass. Mass can be measured, distance can be measured. Quantities such as time can be measured, speed, and any other quantities that can be measured. So all those quantities that can be measured are what are referred to as physical quantities. So any measurable quantity is a physical quantity. Now, in order to measure these physical quantities, a special scientific instrument is used. So this instrument is specific to the physical quantity. So each physical quantity has its own instrument that is used to measure that physical quantity. Examples of such, for example, if we take mass, mass can be measured by a beam balance. Or maybe we take time, time can also be measured by a stopwatch. Time can be measured by a stopwatch, or distance can be measured by a meter rule, and so on and so forth. So each physical quantity has its own specific scientific instrument that is used to measure it. Now, in order for us to measure these physical quantities, we must first define the units through which that measurement is being made. So the unit in which that measurement is being made. So a unit basically is just a quantity that gives value to the physical quantity. So in other words, I'm saying a unit is just what quantifies that physical quantity. It attaches or assigns value to the physical quantity. Now, there are some system of units that are used to describe or to define these physical quantities. So the most common used system of units is the metric system, that is referred to as the International System of Units. So this is the most common metric system that is used, which is just the International System of Units, or better still, abbreviated as SI units. So the SI units are just the International System of Units. Now, this is done basically for uniformity. Uniformity in the experiments that are being done in physics, no matter where it is being conducted around the world. So for the sake of uniformity, these International System of Units have been defined to describe the measurements of these physical quantities. So we shall look at these physical quantities, and they are their SI units, the International System of Units that describe these physical quantities. Now, there are two types of physical quantities. So first we need to understand the physical quantities, then assign or attach SI units to them. So there are two types of physical quantities, and the two types of physical quantities that will be discussed are the base quantities and the derived quantities. In this video, we will first begin by looking at the base quantities, and in the other video, we will come back and look at the derived quantities. So these are the two types of physical quantities. Now, in discussing the base quantities. The base quantities, these are just quantities that cannot be derived from any other physical quantity in physics. So these are just quantities that cannot be derived from any other quantity in physics, or these are quantities that cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities. In other words, these quantities are basic, or better still, they are fundamental. So these quantities cannot be derived from any other. They cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities. They are basic in their form. So examples of this type of quantities, we have quantities such as mass. Mass cannot be expressed in terms of any other quantities apart from itself. Also, we have quantities such as time. Time also cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities apart from time itself. And then we also have length. Length also cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities apart from length itself. So these quantities that have this type of characteristic that they cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities are what we refer to as the base quantities. They are basic in their form, they are fundamental in their form. All right, so now we will look at the representation of these base quantities. So whether base quantities or derived quantities, quantities can be represented one by the symbol of the physical quantity. So we need to know the symbols of these physical quantities. And also when we go to the numerical part, there should be a size or a magnitude. For example, if I want to measure the length, I'll have maybe, let's say, 8 meters. So this would be expressed as a numerical symbol, or the size, the magnitude, okay, of that measurement of length. And then this also is what we are referring to as the unit. So the representation of these base quantities will have the numerical symbol, will also have the unit. But in representing them in this video, we'll also look at the symbols of these physical quantities. So let's look at the representation of these physical quantities. So for example, we have physical quantities such as length. These are basic in their form. They cannot be expressed in terms of any other. So the symbol for length is just capital letter L, and symbol for mass is just letter M, and symbol for time is just letter T, and symbol for temperature is just capital letter T, and symbol for current is just capital letter I. So these are just the symbols of these physical quantities, and the symbols for their units will just be, because length is measured in meters, so the symbol will just be small letter m. Mass is measured in kilogram, so the symbol will just be kg, and time is measured in seconds, so this will just be small letter s. Temperature is measured in Kelvin, so this will just be capital letter K, and current is measured in amperes. This is just capital letter A. And this is how these basic or base quantities are represented, so by their symbol and also their unit. So length, letter L, meters, small letter m, mass, m, kilogram, kg, time, T, seconds, S, temperature, T, Kelvin, K, current, I, ampere, capital letter A. So this is all about base quantities. In the next video, we will look at derived physical quantities.